Hello and welcome. My name is Yan Makanda from the Alumni Relations Department, and today we're talking about something that affects every student, nutrition and well-being. Joining me is Jade. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Can you introduce yourself to us and also tell us why nutrition is an important focus for you?
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Jade Frost. I'm a registered dietitian and proud Mandela University graduate. Having been a student, I know firsthand the struggles that come with juggling your studies, finances, meals. So student nutrition is something that is quite close to my heart because it's a lived experience for me. Over the years, I have worked in both community and academic spaces. So that was from running nutrition programs for children in need, lecturing here at Nelson Mandela University, and also doing nutrition training with food preparers from your lower quintile schools in Sweden. So through these experiences specifically, I've seen how affordable, nutritious meals can make a huge difference in the performance of students. So without proper nutrition, they struggle with that. Long-term effects can even include things like deficiencies and malnutrition. I think it's important for us to note that food security doesn't just mean having enough food. It's having the right types of food to support your dietary requirements for an active and healthy lifestyle. So we need to also look at, are students just eating enough food to give them energy, or are they also getting essential nutrients? Because essential nutrients are things that our bodies cannot make by themselves. So we have to obtain it in our diet. So whether it's things like certain amino acids, which is your protein building blocks, or omega-3 fatty acids, these are things we have to obtain in our diet. So sometimes the diets are devoid of that. So there are long-term consequences in that regard. There's also an emotional toll, I think, for students. We can imagine what it's like to sit with anxiety and worry about where your next meal is coming from while still trying to focus in class. In terms of, social engagements as well, this has happened to me a few times also, where I remember declining social invitations because I didn't have the means. Finances were difficult. So it's sometimes students also end up isolating themselves because they don't have the means and can't afford to join their peers for meals or snacks. So all of this can funnel into a greater risk of students actually dropping out.
And to combat these challenges, what can students do in terms of the small steps that they can take to achieve good nutrition?
So within the means, there's quite a few things that students can do. The first one is definitely doing some research. This step and then the next step that I would say, which is planning, it can be quite tedious and take a lot of effort in the beginning. But I think it's one of those things that once you have it nailed down, it's kind of a rinse and repeat situation, and you're not having to pour that much time and energy into researching and planning. On campus, there are a few resources that students can make use of to improve their nutrition. So I know that at the campus clinics, they do give out food packs. And then at the law faculty, they also on Mondays do sandwiches and coffee for students. And at the Department of Dietetics, they have social media pages where they share nutritional tips for where students can access that freely. So I would encourage students to follow those social media pages for that. And then with regards to the giving campaign as well, they can visit the website to get more information on that. When it comes to affordable steps that students can start implementing as of now, students can start with researching. So if you don't know what a healthy meal is, it's difficult to plan a healthy meal. So for that, I would highly recommend that students reach out and start learning, for example, on those dietetics social media pages, looking online, looking to also South African resources, because also there are a lot of budget tips from US channels, but those aren't always translatable to our prices here.
I would agree.
So I have a channel as well. It's called The Frugal Dietitian, where I share affordable, healthy meals that people can prepare and nutrition tips as well. There are plenty of other channels where students can access good information on how to plan their meals. I know that the Department of Dietetics also released a recipe book a few years back that was made by the students for the students.
Oh, wow.
And that contains a lot of nutrition information and plenty of recipes that students can follow. So those are a couple of resources. And then after your research, you need to sit and plan. Okay, because if you don't plan, it's difficult to gauge how much you need to purchase throughout the month. And then that can also result in financial difficulties later on because you haven't budgeted properly.
Of course.
So definitely planning your meals and then doing things like batch cooking. So not just making enough for one meal, but preparing enough for 3 or 4 meals. Doing little meal prep steps so you don't have to cook a whole bunch of meals for the week. You could do simple things like chopping up your veg, chopping up your fruit so that it's easy to just access that and use it in your meals. You could boil your rice and you could put that in the fridge or freezer and you could use that as a side dish. You could use it as a staple ingredient, in example, fried rice that you could add really good quality proteins to, such as eggs and mackerel. And you could do affordable swaps. So instead of your processed meats, which tend to be quite expensive and also not healthy, you could swap that out for things like legumes, which is your lentils and beans, which also stretch a lot further. And it's a good plant-based protein. You could swap out your sugary caffeinated drinks for water. And of course, I know that every now and then you need that little boost.
Yes.
I completely get that.
Students are nuts.
Yeah. So no judgment there. I completely understand. But for the most part, reaching for the water instead, which is obviously more affordable as well. And also choosing healthier snacks. You know, we all like our sweet treats and our chips. I think the issue is not the treats itself, but it's moderation. So how we are consuming it. So for the most part, rather opting for healthier snacks like peanuts, fruit, chopped veg, homemade popcorn is another one. Boiled eggs can be also another snack that students can eat. That's also a high quality snack. So those are just a few options that students can, or few ways that students can improve their nutritional status.
I know for myself, when I was a student, a snack would be chocolates or, you know, what can they replace? I would say junk food, because when you're studying, you just want to snack all the time. So what other foods can they actually replace so that the nutrition is achieved?
Yeah. So for example, you could do things like peanuts, you could do fruit, fresh fruit, and always go for fruit that's in season because that's always far cheaper. And tastes better as well. Quality is better. Other things is homemade popcorn. Okay, that is a fantastic snack. It's high in fiber, low in fat. You control how much salt you're adding as well. So that's a nice alternative to something like chips. I know it's not going to be the go-to all the time, but like I said, it's what you're doing most of the time that tends to add up. So swapping that out for popcorn. And look, I will say every now and then have your snack. It's just, I think the issue comes in with moderation, with moderation. So not having the chocolates and the sweets every day.
All the time.
Exactly. But rather having these healthier snacks most of the time.
Thank you for that. And finally, if you could leave the students or the wider public with one message about nutrition in student life, what would it be?
I think I would say we need to realize that food is not a luxury. It's a foundation. And through my experience, we can see that nutrition is such a crucial component to students actually getting the most out of their education and becoming successful. And investing in this area of a student's life is not just investing in their future, but ours as well, because students eventually graduate and they become part of society, a society that we all live in. And we would want them to be contributing members of society. So, we're not just investing in their future, we're investing in all of our futures.
And that's right. Thank you for that. Thank you for your insights. We all know, and it's clear that nutrition is not just about food. It's about securing our students' future. Jade, thank you so much for being here and sharing your knowledge. To our followers, please go to the Given Campaign site and fund a dream, make a change. Please donate. Every cent will help towards student nutrition. Thank you.